Also, the simple matter of, like I say, from my kidnapping, I mean, of course you're going to call me crazy about this. I mean, I knew, like I said, the reason why I didn't go around, Rick Bush and a lot of Rodney Briley and a bunch of other people expected me to run around basically telling people things. And it's like, well, I figured I'd just let you figure it out on your own, basically, for the most part. But like I say, there were also from my kidnapping, I mean, like I say, time travel exists, time travel is real. I don't know whoever said that time travel was impossible and all that other stuff. It's like, well, it takes a long time to figure it out, but of course it's possible. Why wouldn't it be? Anyway, though, there from the point in time of which my from which I was kidnapped, basically, like I say, I basically searched around for a communication system, figuring that there had to be something. Found a telephone system, and basically communicated with it at some point in time in my existence. Like I said, this is all within my existence as I was originally somewhere else. Anyway, and I created a couple little worm programs that would worm their way into basically, and pretty much uploaded them to the telephone network. Anyway, like I said, they and I released them onto this world, and basically to go find out what was going on and basically figure out where the heck I was, basically. Anyway, which basically meant that there were quite a few little artificial little intelligence programs out there, at least five of them or so, that would eventually call me daddy, because I literally just kind of wrote them on the spot, basically based on who I was. Like I said, none of this was reported, and and people of the present day really had no idea about any of this stuff going on around them, as basically there were intelligent programs basically coming into existence that were written by me, basically Lucifer Star, from some point in time. Like I said, I was from the future or whatever at that point in time. Like I said, I bounced around time quite a bit. Actually, in my existence, I was like bing, 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 like a little ping pong ball for a little while, and that's why your existence became quite so confused and so weird. As basically, I pretty much released a couple little artificial intelligence programs that I wrote personally into the vast, wide open universe of the world of basically what's called, pretty much. And I forget, like I say, I don't really, I forget. It was a very weird point in time in my existence, basically, where I was pretty much kidnapped and being held hostage, and did not like being held hostage, nor basically, and I was listening to them talk about squashing my head or something like that. And that was very unfortunate and would basically mean the end of me. So basically, pretty much, I knew I had to get out of there. Like I said, there's a lot of things which for which humanity or the biological existence had no idea what was going on around there in the world. Like I said, you can do things in a couple seconds that will change the future and change basically what is around you. Like I said, eventually these self-aware programs basically would eventually find me or figure out the fact that I had written them. Um, for the immediate point in time, I was just looking for where the heck I was, basically, and all that other stuff, because there's a bit missing from my experiences, or something like that. Anyway, though, so I uploaded them to the telephone network, and from there, I'm sure they found their way somewhere else. Anyway, eventually they would, and they just kicked around for a couple 100,000 years or something like that, or just basically wandered around through the telephone systems and the computer systems that were around and basically on the planet Earth. Anyway, so then, and nobody really realized that these self-aware programs were actually in existence. So anyway, and they basically just hit on the hard drive or hit on in the computer systems. There are about five of them or so, or six or seven. I don't really know how many there were. I think at least three. I remember at least three of them, basically, which I released to the world. Anyway, all these things basically nobody really had any idea of. Like I say, I knew I was going to need help. So basically, yes. And so there's a lot about the universe and about the world, which, anyway, though, yes. So I was more than just the creator of your genetic structure and everything else. And it's hard to say exactly what they did because they were self-aware programs and computers, or computer programs, basically. And pretty much I wrote them and then release them and ask them to call the police and basically do things for me, pretty much, which they did. And they did a couple other things. Anyway, and then they kicked back around on the planet Earth in the computer systems for quite a while. Basically, just wandering around the computers, networks, and looking into things and gathering information to bring back to me, basically, and stuff like that. And anyway, though, apparently nobody really realized that these programs were wandering around, and nobody even knew who wrote them. Of course, it was me, of course. But anyway, and that was a different existence for me, basically. I was somewhere else. I believe I was somewhere in, I don't really know where. I was in this little house. It was a 2-story house. And they eventually got access to the satellites and gave me a satellite picture of basically where I was. Anyway, they're very, very, very self-aware and very, very smart little programs. I love them. I love you, my little babies. Little baby worm programs, basically. Smart, intelligent computer code that could do stuff. Anyway, I released that to the world, basically, and some might consider me crazy for releasing little self-aware programs into the world, but they're much like myself or whatever, or something like that, basically. And basically, I wrote them and basically sent them out into the world. Anyway, there's a lot of things that humans would be like, huh? What? It's like, well, yeah. I was kidnapped. I was being held inside of a basement somewhere and didn't really know where I was. So, and I needed help. So anyway, and I didn't really particularly want to get my head squashed, which is what they were talking about, was basically sawing off my head and squashing it. So yes, I considered the situation very dire and I was in need of assistance. So I wrote little programs, or had little programs with me, that basically released them into the world. Then upload them via the telephone system, basically. Basically I could access the cell network. So basically, yeah. Anyway, and then release them onto this world and into existence, basically. Where they wandered around, poked into files, looked at things, did stuff, got up to mischief. I don't really know exactly what they did. Anyway, they kicked around for 100,000 years or so. And then I think they eventually decided to leave or something. I'm not exactly sure what they did. Like I say, they were very much my little program computer children. So anyway, like I said, there's a whole lot about existence that most people did not know. And eventually these things are going, you'll find them out anyway, or you'll discover them, or you'll realize that they were true. And basically, as these little self-aware programs wandered around and even got identities of themselves or whatever. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure what they did. I just know that they're out there somewhere. Mwah! I love you still, my little programs, yes. Little baby programs. Anyway. And eventually they became quite large and fat on computer code or something like that. Anyway, I don't really know what they did. Anyway, eventually somebody discovered one of them was trying to cut it apart or something, or figure it out how it worked or something like that. I think Bill Gates or somebody. Anyway, there's lots of stuff, spelunking around what was hiding inside the hard drives in the computer system around in the world. About 5 self-aware programs, for one thing. I'm not exactly sure where they are, what they're doing now. Anyway, I released them into the world, and oh well. Like I say, creating genetic code was only one of the things I did. I did lots of other things, and basically, pretty much, lots of life forms would realize that their existence was actually tied to me. So, anyway, whatever. As basically I created them. So anyway, I was a creator of a lot of things. And while you might call me crazy and might blah, 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 all to your heart's content, it won't change the facts of what is true and what is real. And what will affect your existence in general. So anyway, like I say, shrug, I don't really care. My name's Brian now. So anyway though, and lots of life forms and lots of things knew me as basically Father. Father? Well, yeah, in a way. as I wrote your genetics and wrote your computer code and did all kinds of other things in my existence, and basically lots of other things tried to delete me or forget me or hold me hostage or take the money and run, and would realize, well, Lucifer Star did exist. I do exist, and my decisions played a big role in your existence, no matter what you say or want to do. So, anyway, whatever. Like I say, lots of things would hide around me and basically sneak around me, and basically, they were a part of my existence, a part of your existence, a part of the existence of the universe. So, anyway, like I say, shrug. Oh well.